probably the best 40 minutes of defensive basketball that we've played in a long time, which once again just shows me how connected these kids are with what we're trying to do, because that's all we've talked about is we got to defend better. We got to defend better. And it's hard to put them in all the drills, excuse me, that help us get better defensively, because you're worried about manpower and you're worried about running the kids into the ground because, come game time, I've got confidence in 7 guys. I got to figure out a way, because he's trying harder, to gain confidence to play Alonzo a little bit more. I tried to do that today. I kind of left him out there because he's too good a player. He's got to get better. His effort's got to be better defensively. He's got to be more connected with what we do on offense, and then I have to do a better job of just letting him know I'm trusting in him because he's working a little harder. But our effort today was real good. Real proud of the guys.
Frank, the 2 runs, the one in the first half, and then after it was tied at 61. Was that all on defense? Is that where it started, or was it just some guy hits a big shot and then you get a stop?
Yeah, I thought even early in the game we're down 13-2 defensively. They made a couple shots to start the game. We shortcutted a coverage, and we knew that's what they were going to run. And I think it was Mike. I'm pretty sure it was Mike. He shortcutted the coverage. And Blake Kinson jumps up and makes a shot, and that's what Blake does. And I thought we defended pretty consistently the whole game. We didn't make free throws early in the game, and we missed some dinks, and then we missed free throws. So when it was 13-2, in reality, it should have been like 13-8, 13-9, somewhere in there. And then we started making shots and just. It kind of gave our defense even more life. Then in the second half, I thought we settled too much for threes. We didn't attack them offensively. We ran offense, but we didn't attack them. I thought when the second run happened, we started screening, spacing, and attacking. And I thought we played a lot better, obviously, from that frame of mind in those last 5 minutes of the game or so.
After A&M that you played AJ, Trey, and Hassani pretty much a lot of the times, especially down the stretch. What does that lineup give you when it's out on the floor, especially in the backcourt? And I guess Hassani had, I think, 15 tonight. Just do you think he's making a case potentially for SEC's 6th Man of the Year?
I would hope so. I mean, I have no idea. I get it. We're South Carolina. Nobody pays attention to us. We're not supposed to beat anybody. It's the story that we've had here for 7 years. But how's Chris not in the conversation for Player of the Year? How's AJ not in the conversation for Freshman of the Year? How's Hassani not in the conversation for 6th Man of the Year? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and brag because we got games left. And like I tell you guys, I'm not into bragging. It's because as soon as you start bragging, somebody knocks you down, then you look like a fool. But we are in 4th place with, 5 to go? I don't even know, 5 to go. We're in 4th place. We're not in 11th place. We've overcome all the adversity early in the year, and those 3 guys individually are playing as well as anybody for those awards. And they deserve any individual credit those 3 guys eventually get. They deserve.
Frank, you mentioned the other day that you weren't too happy with Keyshawn. Do you think he heard that from the way he played today? Hands
down. He was. In the second half, he kind of relaxed again, and that's why his minutes went down in the second half, and more defensively than offensively. But he was a lot more engaged. He was engaged in practice yesterday. He didn't mope around like he did going into whoever we played before this game. After Tennessee, he moped around. He got his feelings hurt, and he stayed in his feelings, and you can't do that. But he was good yesterday in practice. His enthusiasm today at shoot-around was real good. His activity level was good, and he followed that up. We need him. He's got to play. He's a good player. He's got to grow up, and it's part of the deal. You either it's like life. I was forced to grow up when I was 14 years old. It's just a hand I was dealt. It doesn't make me better than anybody. He's got to grow up. This team needs him to grow up, and you can't be in your feelings and grow up. You gotta understand that those kids are fighting their tails off right now. You get into your feelings, that's a selfish move, and he's got to embrace that and keep moving forward.
Getting back to the defense, what was different tonight? Was it effort? Anything specific that led you to think that this was better than what it has been so far this season?
They've been hearing it from me. I mean, our practice breakdown has been real similar to what we've done here for the last 2 weeks, how we attack practice, the structure of practice, the length of practice, how we've managed the days between games. It's been I'm a consistent guy. I don't believe in overreacting to stuff. But we've been talking a lot about it. We've been challenging them. Like, you got to do this better. You got to do this better. And just challenging and challenging and challenging. And then, Bill Snyder, my first year here, when I was miserable, I called him and I said, Coach, how'd you handle that first 2 years at K-State when he was 1-22 or 1-23, whatever it was his first 2 years there? How'd you handle that? He said, I started laughing. He said, a lot of patience. And I said, but what did you do? He says, I continued to ask the players the same questions and force them to execute their answers, not mine. Basically, what did they want to get done? And then hold them accountable every day to make sure that they did that. That's kind of what I've been doing. I've just been repetitive with what we have to do at rebounding. We're not a good rebounding team. We got to get better, man. Take pride in it. Defensively, we haven't guarded good for a while. We've guarded well in the second halves of the last 2-3 games, but we haven't guarded the whole game. We got to do this better. Give them credit. They take pride in it, and they went out and did it. Our leadership right now is real good. Chris, Hassani, Trey Campbell's grown up a lot, off the charts.
Coach, you spoke of AJ. What do you think has been his biggest area of growth this season, and what was your reaction to some of those dunks tonight?
His aggression. He's too good a kid. He's just too good a kid, and he's got so much to give. Like, I think he's going to become one of the unbelievable defenders that I've ever coached, but he's not there yet. But his aggression. He's just being in attack mode. When you turn him loose in the open court, my God, he's so fast, and with his size and athleticism, and give Ole Miss credit. He had a couple plays today in the open court where I can't believe they blocked his shot. Big time plays by Ole Miss. That's why they're good. And my reaction to his dunks is like, it's about time. It's because we haven't offensive rebounded very much. I'm being sarcastic when I said that. It's the offensive rebound dunk in the first half. When he moves to three, where I got to play the three guards, we lose a lot of offensive rebounding. And I've been challenging him like, yo, man, you got to get in there. Give him credit. He did it. And then obviously the backdoor cut, Ole Miss was really hounding us, so we were trying to space him and drive him and cut him. And Felipe made the pass, and he made the cut. And, give those guys credit for that play.
Frank, you talked about the double-digit deficits.
Yeah.
It's aged you several years. Because, though, the way you felt you were defending, did you feel fine the way that game started still, even though
Today?
being down? Yeah.
Yeah. Today, I felt completely different today when we were down 13-2 than I did in the previous couple games. Completely different, because I thought our defense was pretty good. I thought on offense we were locked in and attacking. We were just missing shit. Sometimes when you run offense the right way, like you prepare for a game and you execute what you talked about doing, and ball don't go in the basket, it happens. But that's what I tell the guys. Everyone wins when they make threes. Bad defensive teams win. Bad teams win. If you go out and make 16, 17 threes, you're going to win. But the good teams win when they don't make them. And we didn't make those shots early in the game, but we were fighting defensively, and that gave me hope that if we can just settle down and make some shots, we'd be okay.
Frank, what does this team have? I mean, you've won, 5 of your 13 SEC games after being down 10 or more. I mean, what does this team have that has allowed it not to slip away when it could?
Character. Got high-quality kids that look out for each other. They believe in each other. Like I said last game, these games are kind of a microcosm of our season. all the adversity we hit early in the year, whether, injuries, losing games, just growth, inexperience, immaturity, whatever. It's all part of the deal. And they never gave in to, a lot of people quit on this team and these kids. And when I mean a lot of people, I'm not trying to blame anybody. Just whether it was media, fans, I had people approach me, say, oh, we'll never win a game. I said, okay, thank God that person's not coaching my team. And, those kids stayed connected. You learn about people when things don't go your way. And I learned when we got back from Christmas, the practice that we had December 27th, whatever day it was, I was blown away. Blown away that after 4.5 days off, that those kids were so excited and practiced so hard that day. Just blown away. And we're coming off a 4-game losing streak. And they kind of never looked back. They've kept working that way. And let's try and figure out a way to be up 13-2 and not down 13-2. It'll be a lot easier on things.
Coach, now that you've seen this defensive effort, how does that momentum still grow in the right way? Where do you think, from what you've seen of this team when it comes to either three-point shooting or their ability to come back in games, they've learned they've never regressed. Can that continue on the defensive end of the ball now?
We got to learn how to do that better on the road. That's. I'm not going to say we've struggled on the road, but at Vanderbilt we didn't defend real well. At Florida, we turned it over a lot, and we have to figure out a way to be good defensively on the road. And when we've been on the road here for the last 3-4 games, we haven't rebounded, we haven't defended. Chris has gotten in foul trouble. We got to get better there. We're gonna find out on Saturday. We obviously go on the road, but I don't want to take anything away from the kids. It's those kids are playing with unbelievable resolve right now, and like I just said on the radio, anyone that's a Gamecock fan, if you can't respect the way these kids have played, there's something wrong with you. I tell you guys, and you guys think I just say it to say funny stuff. They're taking me on an unbelievable ride. They're forcing me to grow up a lot, and that's a credit to those kids.
Going back to what you were saying about AJ as a defender, what gives him those qualities that makes you think he could be that good?
His length, his ability to move side to side, his toughness, his mind, his instincts. I mean, he's got all the qualities. He just got to learn. And, and he's not real strong yet. So people screen him a lot. And when you're not real strong, contact bothers you. It's just, that's the way life is. He's got to learn. He's got to keep getting stronger, which he works his tail off in the weight room, and he eats like an ox, the amount of food that young man eats. And then he just has to learn how to just be a little more physical at the point of attack when there's a screen. That's it. That's his biggest hiccup right now is the point of attack. And then like all freshmen, mentally, you can't say, ooh, I'm a little tired, let me take this one off. Because then they come at you and now you're in trouble. He's got to learn how to manage that a little better. But he's got all the makings for somebody that can be a special defender.
Frank, you're putting together a pretty interesting case to land on the bubble here, especially if you can continue to win out. Is this something that you're going to push hard for if you continue to win? Because it's one of those things that it's a very unique situation y'all would be in if you win, say, go 5-1 the next 6.
If I start paying attention to the bubble, you're going to hear this. I'm worried about Mississippi State, man. What Belichick? We're on to Mississippi State. I'm not worried about. I'm not trying to be smart, Alec. I'm not worried about the bubble. I'll say this to you: if a team in the SEC wins 12 league, here's what I will say. All right, I'm going to tell you something about the bubble. All right. Why don't people give us credit like they give other people when their good players are hurt? But no one picked us to be where we're at, so no one's going to give us credit for the other stuff. Meaning, when you play Virginia and Clemson and your starting power forward is out, when you play Wofford and your starting small forward tears his knee 10 minutes ago, the day before the game, and his backup hadn't practiced in 3 days with headaches and has to play with sunglasses. No one ever says anything about that. They just say, they stunk. That's why they lost. They don't belong. We had a bad game at Wyoming. I wish I can give you an example or a reason for why we played bad that day. We had a bad game there. But all those other games, we had adversity. We didn't have our full team. And nobody wants to give us credit for that. And some people went, 10-3 in non-league play. And in other leagues, I'm not trying to single out a team in this league. Some people go 10-3 in non-league play, and then they start league play, and they're, what are we now, 9-4, and they're 5-8, and they're on the bubble. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference whether you go, 5-8 early or 5-8 late? I don't understand. That's why I don't get wrapped up into it. It's because I'm worried. Bob Huggins said to me one year, we got left out. His first year at K-State and his only year there, we got left off, and it made no sense. And he grabbed me because I was furious. I wanted to fight. And he grabbed me and he said, Frank, you got to understand, we got left off the ball. We were solidly in our last year, Cincinnati, and the morning of Selection Sunday, they moved us off. Like we were solidly in, not even on the bubble, out. Then we go to K-State the next year, and we're solidly in. And for whatever reason, that morning, out. And so I was ready. I'm telling you, I was ready to go fight. And Hugs grabbed me. He said, Frank, can't worry about those things. At the end of the day, if you win enough, you get in. Plain and simple. So he's a prophet in my eyes. And I've always listened to his advice and what he says. And I can't be worried about that right now. I got to be worried about these kids in Mississippi State. But if someone wins 12, let me just throw a number out there, league games in the SEC and doesn't get in the NCAA tournament, I think that'd be a travesty. I think that'd be as sad can be.
Alonzo's 8 minutes was actually some pretty big minutes with Chris on the bench. You complimented his effort. How much is that to what you said to the freshmen this weekend about playing their hearts out these next few games? And where is he now getting comfortable in what he's doing?
Defensively, he's not where he needs to be at. And you got to understand, the guys that coach the other teams we play against are pretty good. So as soon as I put them in, they watch film. As soon as I put them in, they go right at him. They don't go at other players. They go at him. And he's got to understand that. And because you can't, we were in control of the game, even though we weren't scoring. And then Chris picked up his third foul, and I went to the bench. And that's when they made the comeback, is when I had Alonzo and Felipe in there at the 4 and 5. Which, by the way, Felipe today is the best effort he has ever played with wearing a uniform here. Best effort he's ever given all the way around. But that's where Alonzo's challenge is. When you come in off the bench, whether you're a senior, a freshman, a walk-on, a start, whatever, when you come in off the bench, you can't go negative numbers. You can't. Your matchup can't beat you. You have to, at worst, give your team a neutral, for your minutes out there. And Alonzo today kind of gave us a neutral because he made a couple baskets, but he gave up a couple baskets. So it kind of didn't hurt us completely. But like I said earlier, I've got to find a way for myself to have a little more confidence in him in games and turn him loose a little bit more. I'm not there with him yet, but I've got to get there.
Thought you were going to go into a plus-minus deal for a second.
I didn't tell you what the plus-minus is, but I know this. My plus-minus, his man in pick and roll makes 2 layups, and he makes 2 layups. I think that offsets one another. The analytic plus-minus, that one, I told you the deal. Sindarius is my teammate. I'm on the court. His plus-minus is not going to be very good.
Here's a more traditional number.
Yeah.
46 rebounds tonight, only 4 from Chris. Do you feel like this was one of your better overall team efforts in that category, I guess, tonight over the last couple months?
No doubt. Keyshawn being engaged. Hassani and AJ were tremendous on the defensive glass. we've been rebounding better. I think we out-rebounded, who we just play? I don't even know. I think we out-rebounded them, if I'm not mistaken. We put up a fight at Tennessee. We out-rebounded Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken. We're trying to put up a fight. And the two things that have bothered me about this team has been our inability to rebound and not being as aggressive defensively as I'd like us to be. And we've gotten better at both of those things. But that's was it one of you guys asked me the other day, outside of Chris, who's your next best rebounder? And what'd I say? A.J. Lawson. Yeah, he's on the defensive side. He's got instincts, and he goes to get the ball, and he's just got to get stronger. Hassani was real good. By the way, in the past I've been hard on Hassani publicly, privately, the whole thing. He's in a real good place right now. AJ's growth has a lot to do with Hassani's growth. Trey Campbell's growth has a lot to do with Hassani's growth, and but that's how we got to rebound. Now think about this. Now teams start paying attention to that. How do you now just focus in on Chris? Now it takes a big burden off of Chris having to grab every defensive rebound for us, and that's all part of our growth. Thank you, guys.